Did I ever tell you guys about that one time at camp? Hi guys, it's Danny. I am online and I am not sure if I'm doing my intro correct, but I'm trapped behind your screen right now and you need to let me out by giving me the magical numbers on the front of your credit card and the silly little date and numbers on the back. I'm here today bringing you premium content for free, and that content is telling you all about my experiences at Girl Scout camp as a young woman. So I was a Girl Scout for a majority of my childhood. I started as a brownie, which I think I technically started around like 3rd grade or so. I had a lot of fun in brownies, you know. A lot of my friends were also brownies, but as you get older in Girl Scouts, more and more your friends kind of leave and you're just kind of there with like 2 other people, and it loses the fun because also you're not 8 years old and coloring. You have to do like actual real projects that require thinking and time and stuff that teenagers generally don't want to do. It was, I don't know, it was not my favorite thing in the world, but it was something that I did. Arguably the best or most sought after part of being a Girl Scout is going to camp, which is, I don't want to say it's very exclusive. Like, they really let anyone in there, obviously. I don't know, a lot of people wanted to do it and it was like this big special thing. I went to camp a few times. I think it was like a couple summers and a couple winters I went. And oh my god, what an experience. The Girl Scout camp that I went to was in the middle of nowhere and it was like deep in the woods, and I remember the cabins were, it was like these wood cabins with canvas tarps and little cot beds, and there were only outhouses. There weren't any actual plumbing toilets, which was a bonus. It's fabulous. I was not excited to be there. I was crying. I was pissed the whole time. I was pissed, but I did end up having some fun. The first time I went, I was only there for like a weekend and it was fine. You know, we did some like tie-dye and some crafts and played tag or whatever, and it was cool. But the next year I went for a whole week. Yeah, and it was hard. It was so hard. It was the first full week that I had ever spent away from my family and my friends. And well, actually, I was with a couple of my friends, but it was still like you're in the middle of nowhere in the mountains. There were so many insane things that happened during this camping trip. The cabins were split up into 4. So there's 4 people in a cabin, and I was there with 2 of my friends, so there's only 3 of us. So they assigned another random person to our tent, cabin, whatever you want to call it. This person was she was so annoying, so frustrating to be around, so irritating. This girl came in, she had a kazoo for some reason, and she would never stop playing it. I mean, never. Sometimes she would only communicate by playing the kazoo. At Girl Scout camp, you know, they have you walk, like, hiking through the woods to go to the dining hall and stuff. Like, you're exhausted at the end of the day. This girl, all I wanted to do was sleep. She would play the kazoo until she fell asleep. Since I had prior experience with camp, I knew that you were not allowed to have any candy or stuff like that on you. So what I did this second time around, I thought, being the way that I thought I'm gonna make a little extra cash here. And I smuggled in a bag of Jolly Ranchers. What I did was I had this little like box that locked. I stuffed it full of Jolly Ranchers. I stuffed that into like clothes, like I wrapped it up in clothes. I put it in the middle of my bag. So there was like clothes on the bottom and clothes surrounding it. So if they just like look through my bag a little bit, it would blend in. Because they did, I think they did look through your bags. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure they did, to make sure you didn't have any like contraband on you or whatever. I got it in. I was thrilled. I ended up only making about like maybe $5 max, but I charged $0.25 per piece, and I think it was like 3 for 50 cents, or like I was doing package deals. I don't know what, like what. I think that was hilarious. How did I come up with that? I also brought in this tiny little toy soccer ball, and that was allowed. That was fine. It was like a stress ball, but it looked like a little soccer ball. I would throw it around to my friends in the cabin, and we would play catch, whatever. And one time it rolled, like it accidentally flew out of the cabin and rolled underneath it. So I was like, oh, I'll get it. I was, you know, like tiny, lanky, skinny at the time, so I could fit under the cabin. I crawled under the cabin, and there's all these leaves everywhere, and I was like, okay, like it wasn't fall, it was summer. I was like, why are all these fallen leaves just swept under here? And I crawled under and got it, and the leaves were like all over my face, like because I was like crawling in. Later that day, my face and like my hands and chest and stuff were burning, and eventually it broke out all like red, and I had scabs all over my chin, I remember. Turns out that there was a poison oak tree right behind my cabin, and they just kind of swept the leaves underneath our cabin and didn't tell us. I did get poison oak all over my face. That took a while to heal. That wasn't fun. Another night while I was there, I think this was later in the week, it was like midnight, and I had to get up to pee. I'm in the outhouse, I pee, whatever. I go for some toilet paper. There's no toilet paper. But there was a little box with extra toilet paper rolls in it. So I go to open the box to get some toilet paper. I open it up. There is a rat, a giant rat, and a bunch of little baby rats, and it hisses at me, or like it's like when I open it to get the toilet paper. So no extra toilet paper for me. I also remember one time we were coming back to our cabins from dinner or something, and there was just straight up a porcupine that was very alarmed. Like it had its spikes up. It was not happy with all the people around it on the trail that we had to walk to get to our cabins. Like, I guess there was no other way. So we just had to walk around it like very quietly and very carefully. That was scary. Here is the story that I always tell people about Girl Scout camp. The other stories I've told so far, nothing compared to this. At the time, I was really into disposable cameras and like film photography and all that. I was always carrying my disposable camera around, taking pictures and stuff. And one time I was just hanging out in my cabin. I was just minding my own business. I wasn't paying attention to anyone else. And I took it out and I took a selfie, and like I had the flash on, so you could tell that it, like, you know, I took a selfie and it flashed on me, and I put it away. It was all fine and dandy, whatever. And then later that night, I get called by my counselors into their tent. And I was like, okay, like, did I do something? They told me, somebody in your tent said that you took pictures of them naked. I was like, what? What? I was shocked because I did not do that at all. The only picture that I took in the cabin was a selfie while we were all just hanging out. But I guess someone was changing at the time or something. I don't know. I was in my own world. I was counting up my change from my candy hustle, and I took a selfie. I was happy. Whatever. So they called me in to tell me to not do that, and they called me... This is insane. This is insane behavior. They're like, you know, that's like lesbian behavior. I was like, like, I don't even know, like, I remember not knowing how to respond. I was just like, I would never do that. I would never take pictures of people without them knowing. And I remember them giving me this whole speech about like, you know, that's like, are you a lesbian or something? Like, are you questioning? Are you gay? Are you like, what's going on? They're asking me all these questions and like really pressing me and then telling me like, you're a lesbian. You're a lesbian. And I'm like 12. I was like, I'm a lesbian. So I remember that whole thing happened and I cried myself to sleep because, you know, that's kind of a traumatic experience when you're 12 to just be chilling and then all of a sudden your camp counselors accuse you of being a lesbian who is taking pictures of people without their consent and all this crazy stuff. The next day I remember, and this is kind of like the whole trip, there was a really heavy emphasis on prayer. And I don't know if this is a whole like Girl Scout wide thing or if it was just the specific area that I was in for Girl Scouts, but there was very heavy, God bless Jesus. And I'm not from a religious family. My family does have kind of conservative kind of religious views, but we never practiced a specific religion. So this was kind of new for me, but I went along with it just to be respectful. It wasn't that they wouldn't feed you if you didn't pray, but they were really weird to you if you didn't. And I remember being kind of uncomfortable with, you know, having to pray before every meal, and like sometimes they would like make us pray before things, and that was just not, I didn't practice the religion. I think the common punishment was you wouldn't get dessert if you didn't pray, which, okay. But I remember one night I did get in trouble because I didn't say grace and I didn't eat peas. Like, they gave us peas for dinner, and I remember I got a lot of for that. I had to wash the dishes. I think it was the same night. I had to go and help wash the dishes. These are a bunch of like 8 to teenage age girls, but we're all like kids, really. And washing the dishes, they had us like fill up a tub. It's like one of those double sinks that they have in restaurants and kitchens and stuff. And one of it was filled half bleach, half water solution. And the other was some other chemical. And I remember I had to deal with that. Like, I was the one that was like dousing it in bleach or something. They said it was to sanitize it. I remember my arms burning. My arms were covered in hives. It was crazy. I told them, I was like, hey, I think I'm allergic to this chemical or something. I don't know what's going on. And they just like brush it off. They're like, no, it's fine. Like, that happens to everyone. Like, you probably just have sensitive skin, whatever. Like, it's fine. Just do it. So I finished my task. I finished doing the dishes or whatever, but my arms were like raw. And yeah, it was just like bleach and water that they had me cleaning stuff in as a 11 or 12-year-old, however old I was. So that that's some of my crazy experiences at camp. That's just the summer camp version. I did go for winter camp too, which was equally, if not more, terrifying, because it was in the dead of winter, and it was, I remember it being negative 40 degrees outside, and our only source of heat was a giant fire pit. So that was kind of scary. I am going to finish up my makeup and then we can finish up this conversation. Okay, the look is finished. It's just the basic purpley kind of look to match my outfit. Really, that's what it's for. I'm glad you came and sat and listened to me essentially trauma dump. I think the stories are kind of funny, and I wonder if there's anyone out there who relates to this. has anyone else also had an insane experience at specifically Girl Scout camp? I want to know anyone else who went to Girl Scout camp, if it was also such a heavily religion-based experience for you. That's about it. That's the video. Thanks for watching. Follow me on all my socials. That's it. Danny's offline.